them in as we go, but we'll get started in the interest of time. We are recording this session, so anything that you hear, you'll be able to go back and capture this. We'll send it out through Parent Square, and we'll also post it on our website. So for anyone who doesn't know me yet, I am Principal Hood uh, here at North Mech, and I am joined by two wonderful colleagues who are going to take you through our session tonight.
So we've
Y'all
also
want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Kenisha Stewart. I'm also the academic facilitator at the school.
Straight missed her stuff last time.
Hello, my name is Charlene Middleton. I am one of the CTE coordinators at the school.
Thank
And
you
we
all.
also-
Oh, go ahead,
I
Ms.
was just going to let them know we put the presentation link in the chat. So if you want to follow along with us, you can. There is also a bit.ly that we would like for you to sign in for. So that way we have record of you guys coming to our session tonight.
I will also put the attendance link in the chat.
Thank you. So thank you all for joining us for our future focused event series. So we have a few things that we'll be doing at the school. This is one of our first sessions for the spring where we wanted to talk to you about some preparation for the ACT that's upcoming on March 4th. So a little bit about the ACT. North Mecklenburg, and actually every school in the state, has an opportunity to do the ACT for free and offer it for all 11th graders. Our test date here in CMS, our first test date is going to be Wednesday, March 4th. We'll do it at the school, so students will come to school as normal on that day. We'll start at the beginning of the day, so no later than 7:30, but we'll operate as normal in the morning, and then students will go to homeroom, and our 11th graders will be testing and taking the ACT. Again, this is a free test administration, so this administration of ACT is reportable to colleges and universities and in any way that they want to use this score. So this is just like if you would go out and pay for it. You have the opportunity to do it here at North Mecklenburg. So today we're going to talk you through kind of what is the ACT, what it's about, what it can provide for you. We'll talk about some of the impacts. North Carolina College Connect is very important and is a great resource for our students. We'll talk about our test prep program. So here we're using Mastery Prep. Students will be using that in advisory, so they have an opportunity to have a free resource that they can practice that's aligned to the ACT. And then we will give you some additional resources that students can access at home for practice and review.
All right, so as Dr. Hood was saying, the ACT, this is just kind of some bullet points for people to know about the ACT test. The state of North Carolina allows or actually requires our juniors to take the test, but it is just as valuable as the SAT. Sorry, I have two headphones and I have to hear myself. It's just as valuable as the SAT. But people in the country, just depending on where you live in the country, have a preference for a test. But both of them are college admissions tests. So they are definitely things that can help students get into college. But it also helps North Carolina understand our students within the state. So it helps schools measure and improve our instruction. It gives the state data. And of course, it gives parents and students and families an understanding of what a child's college readiness looks like. And just because the state of North Carolina wants more of our students to take the exam, we give it for free. So all juniors are required to take it. So if your child decides to not come to school that day, we are going to find them and have them make up the exam on a different school day. So it's not like an optional test. We do want all juniors to take it. So they might as well come prepare on the day of the test so that they can sit for the exam the same day as everyone else in North Met. Go to the next slide. Sorry, I'm following along with two screens. So this is just kind of an overview of different things to know about the exam and the ACT itself. Like I said, it is a standardized test. Um, and traditionally it has been used for college admissions. And so a lot of students who are considering out of state schools will more than likely need a test score. It's probably a guarantee they'll need a test score, especially if they're doing the states that are around us, such as South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia. They'll definitely probably need a test score to go with their college application. And you may be thinking, well, my child's a junior. They're not doing their college applications at this time. This is the time for students to think about what they want to do in their senior year and after they graduate from high school, specifically because most college and universities have a fall admissions cycle, meaning that generally about October to December, your child in their senior year should be completing their college applications. And so you want to make sure you've done your testing in your junior year. And that way you have a score to use if you're going to use it for your college admission profile when you're doing your college applications in the fall. Like I said, our big push starts in October. Some college admission applications open earlier than that, but between October and December, that's the big push for completing applications. So that's why your child's going to be taking it in their junior year and prepping for their college applications in their junior year. So the ACT is given now. It's a good time to take it. If you're happy with your score, that's fine. If you decide that you are not happy with the score from the ACT administration that the school gives on March 4th, you can retake the test. And this gives you more time to retake it so that you have the score that you may be more satisfied with by the time school starts again in August. The ACT is a little bit of a different format than the SAT. If you're from the state of North Carolina or generally the southeast of the country and you went to college, you're probably more familiar with the SAT that students take on Saturdays. The ACT can also be taken where students sign up and they register and go take the exam on a Saturday morning. But, like I said, the state of North Carolina wants to a push for all students to take this exam. And so when the bottom left-hand corner, you can see it talks about what the ACT tests. Generally, they're going to test the English, math, reading, and science portion. And the writing portion is optional. If you will be taking it on your own on a Saturday, you can decide whether or not you want to take that portion of the exam. But I do believe that students at North Met will be taking the writing portion of the test. So what makes the test different from the SAT is that the ACT does give a science and writing exam as well. Generally, the test is about 2 hours long, but that also means we have breaks that are scheduled within the test as they designate them to be given. So you want to make sure your student is well rested and prepared as far as, maybe having a coat or being able to have on layers so they're able to be in one space for 2 hours and be able to be comfortable while they're taking that exam. And in the bottom right hand corner you can see we talk about the scores. The test is scored from a scale of 1 to 36, and a composite score is just the average of all the sections. The score that you get in each section is averaged together and that gives you your composite score. But students will also be able to see um, each section score when they are looking at their test results in their portal. You can go to the next one.
One correction from Ms. Middleton. At North Mech, they will not be taking the writing test when we do our administration. If they would like to take the writing test, they would have to schedule that with ACT, and they do have the option to only take the writing test because they will be taking the other 4 subjects on campus. So we'll do English, math, science, and reading on campus on the 4th.
So when we were talking about the different sections, you can take the test multiple times. And if you, or say you, meaning your child, students can take the ACT or the SAT multiple times. And of course, each time that you take the test, you get a different score. And so what the ACT does is offers super scores, which will basically take your highest score from multiple administrations if you do take the test multiple times and add all your highest scores together to give you a super score. The same thing happens with the SAT, and I did add a link, a QR code, but I will also put that into the chat. This website is from the ACT website, and it just gives more information about it. Can't type and talk at the same time, sorry. But I added it to the chat. So just things to consider as far as super score is considered. Not all colleges in the country accept super scores. There are some selective institutions that want to see what your score is per exam. But of course, this is going to be a conversation that you and your child can have with a college admissions counselor for those different colleges that they may be looking at that are out of state. And even if a college accepts super scores, some may still require that you submit your entire testing history. It's just every school has its own admissions rules and regulations. So especially if you're looking at schools out of state, because out of state schools every college has its own set of rules around admissions. And as a high school professional in North Carolina, I can give you a good amount of information about schools in North Carolina, but I'm not as knowledgeable about every school that's out of state. Also, many schools will allow students to self-report their highest scores in their Common App when they create that Common App account in their senior year. So, like I said, we're doing it on March 4th, but if you decide that you would like to try again for a higher score, you can take your highest scores from multiple exam sessions to be able to calculate your super score. And so when your child sets up their My ACT account, that account will automatically calculate their super score. So they want to make sure when they're setting that account up during the first admission of the test at North Mech, they want to make sure they're using a personal email address and making sure everything is spelled correctly so that they can make their account and be able to get into it even after testing is over. So that's definitely something I try to stress to students is make sure you are typing your information correctly. And then you can send your single super score report to different colleges. And of course, that's going to have your highest composite score from your different tests. And of course, like I said, the benefits helps with college admissions and also probably merit-based scholarships at some schools. And with the schools accepting super scores, a child may say, well, I wasn't feeling well on March 4th and I just wasn't able to do my best. And, I need to concentrate a little bit more on math sometimes than I do reading. And so I just don't feel like I did well on the math portion. Well, that's okay. If they take the test again, they'll take the highest score from the March 4th March 4th test, and then possibly the highest score from math on a different test if they feel like that's, how they want to piece the multiple scores together in different administrations. But if you do take the ACT or the SAT off campus, you will be responsible for covering the fees. There are fee waivers available to families if you have completed the free and reduced lunch form. So that can help you as far as covering the testing fees if you do want to take it again. But of course, the March 4th administration is free. I'm talking to y'all, but I'm also looking at another screen, but you can go ahead and change it. Okay, so 19 is a big number. In the state of North Carolina, we have determined that a student with a minimal score of 19 shows that they have what colleges are looking for as far as college readiness. So there are not specific scores needed for college admissions. And since North Carolina is mostly a test optional state, students have not been submitting scores since 2020. If a student would like to submit a score to colleges as a part of their admissions application, they are encouraged to search the school's website and look for freshman profile or admitted student profile to see the admission statistics for the previous year. And generally, the schools will give the average test scores of students who were admitted in the past admission cycle, and then your child will be able to see if the score that they receive is competitive or not with those previously admitted students to the college that they're interested in. So if a student has a GPA that is below 2.8, if a student has a weighted GPA that is below a 2.8, it is recommended that they submit their test scores to schools. Most schools are gonna in North Carolina now ask for a SAT or an ACT test score. And so you want to make sure you're competitive with the school's average test score, but understand that the minimum college readiness score that colleges are looking for is a 19. And so then you say, well, has my student seen this before? Well, we're going to go into how they can prep a little bit later in the presentation, but they did take something called the pre-ACT last year as a 10th grade student. So they have a little bit of exposure to the test and what it possibly will cover. And then, of course, we're going to give them resources to help them study and do a little bit better, with more exposure through the study resources on the March 4th the March 4th test. And so not only does this score show college and career readiness, the ACC can also help students consider different career fields. And so if they create their My ACT account, they can do more of a deep dive into what their score means, how it correlates to different career fields, different college majors, and probably even different colleges that are looking for students in their score range. So go ahead to the next one. Okay, so this next slide is it's talking a little bit more about NC College Connect. This was a new program this school year. We are still learning about it. Of course, my battery is low. We are still learning about the program. But essentially, if students had a 2.8 or higher weighted GPA, they can create a portal on the NC College Connect website, and it shows them the college and universities that are granting them automatic admissions to their institution based solely on their grades and GPA. And so when I say North Carolina is a test optional state, that means that if a child has a GPA higher than a 2.8 and they are applying to a college and say they got a 19 or a 20 on the ACT, they don't necessarily have to submit that test score because it shows the college readiness score, the minimum college readiness score, but it's not probably going to be as competitive if they're applying to some of our top competitive schools in the state of North Carolina. They may not want to share that test score. But if a child has, say, a 2.7 or a 2.0 or a 2.5, they will be required to submit their test score. So if it's a 19 or a 20, that's great because it shows at least they have that minimum college readiness score, even though their GPA may not be what the state is looking for automatic admissions. Now, say their child has a GPA that's higher than a 2.8 and they get a 30 on their ACT. That is probably going to be a competitive score compared to other students who are applying to colleges in North Carolina. They can, of course, like I said, go look at that average admitted student profile on any college's website and may want to strongly consider submitting their test scores along with their transcript, GPA, all other admissions packet requirements. And that test score can possibly support them in their journey of gaining admission to a school. But the thing is, it's not a black and white picture as far as college admissions. Everything is gray. But we do want families to understand that at least starting this past fall admission cycle, the state of North Carolina created this portal called the NC College Connect. And like I said, if you have a 2.8 or higher, your child is going to see a list of schools that are going to grant them automatic admission, which means they don't have to do the extra essays. They don't have to do all the extra things that comes with an application. They will go into the system, the NC College Connect system, create their demographic, profile. Because of course the college is going to need, your name, address, FAFSA information, things like that, to be able to say, okay, here is your official admissions letter. And then you follow on the directions from there. But like I said, if you have less than a 2.8, you will be required to submit test scores. And this is a free test that we're giving on March 4th. And it's definitely something that can be used for your admissions applications. I try to keep it short. I wrote my notes and I read them. So if you have questions, let me know. I will be monitoring the chat. I will step away so I can go find a computer charger so I don't die, but I will be here for the rest of the presentation.
I will say this NC College Connect is new, but it's a great thing. My son is a current senior and he did qualify for it. Grateful. One of the other tips I would give you is you will receive a letter if your child qualifies over the summer, and it'll have the listing of schools that are available. We do also have free college application week that runs through North Carolina in October. And a lot of the schools that were also listed in this College Connect program were also listed as schools that were not charging fees during that week. So that's just another tip that you can have in your pocket. So if you need it, you can use it next year when your students are seniors. So I'm going to talk to you today about Mastery Prep. It is a software website-based program that we've purchased for the students so that they can prepare their ACT. They do have the login information. I sent it out. I've also put it in their Canvas accounts so that they know how to access it. But just so the parents know how to access it, this is, they go to app.masteryprep.com. They put in their student email address, and then their passwords are all the same. As student 123, they can change it if they would like, but that's the default password. And it will take them to, sorry, wrong one. It'll take them to the platform, and I will show you how it looks. Nope. As it loads, I promise I had it ready.
While she's getting that up, students are, your 11th grade students are doing this during their advisory time. So they're taking their diagnostic tests, which you see here, and then they have opportunities twice a week for 45 minutes on Mondays and Tuesdays. They are in an advisory group where 11th graders are working on the ACT. So as she takes you through this, I'll also let you know that as a result, last year we used Mastery Connect, and our 11th graders had the opportunity to do this during advisory. They can also do it at home too. It's always accessible, but we carved out time during the day for them to do it. As a result of this, we had a 8-point percentage point increase on our ACT proficiency results, and we attribute that to the dedicated time that students used for practice on the ACT and being able to use Mastery Prep in that time.
So with the software, the way it works is it is powered, of course, by AI. Everything is nowadays. Each student will take a 15-question kind of pre-test in English, math, and science. Once they click on it, if they haven't taken it, it'll pop up telling them to actually do the diagnostic. It won't let them do anything else until they do it. And what the system is doing is asking them a series of questions, and based off of their responses, it will create a study plan for them. It's tailored specifically for them. So please encourage them not to chat GPT it, because they will not have that when they take their test. But do the best that they can, of course, but it will literally make a plan to help support them in the areas that they need support. And it will not give them as many supports in the areas that they kind of already understand. There are listed lessons for them to be able to do. So say, for instance, they do well in one section, but they just feel like they need a little more practice in it. They can always click on the subjects to go back and actually practice the things that they want to do. Once there are full length practice tests, because this one is just strictly to figure out where exactly they are and where they need support. But if they go to the practice test, they can take full ACT style practice tests. They're timed, just if they want to kind of get in the flow of how it works and what they're going to do. Once their study plans are established, this is the test version, so it doesn't have the plans done. It will populate different things for them to do based off of how they did on the test. So it's literally tailored for them, each individual student. And as we said, they have access to it now. So if they want to take it now, they can. They will have access through the end of the school year. So say, for instance, they do take it on the 4th and they don't do as well as they wanted to do. They can go back, practice in the area that they need a little more help in, and they can go back and just take that area if they take it off site. They don't have to retake the whole test. So say, for instance, they got a 23 in English, a 12 in math, math is the issue, and a 22 in reading and a 20 in science. Math would definitely be the one that they needed the support, so they could come in, do the work and practice, and then go back and take it at a later date when they feel more comfortable. I just going back. Here we go. As Dr. Hood said, we do time throughout the days, throughout the week, on Mondays and Tuesdays, that they can practice and work through that in advisory, but also they can be supported at home with our parents by kind of giving them the space to actually practice, giving them the time. You may have to help them come up with a schedule, because some students need a little more support in that area. Encourage them to take the full length test. They've already taken a version of it last year when they did their pre-ACT, so they kind of know how it's set up and what's going on, but it's always a great thing to have a refresher. Please make sure that they get plenty of sleep the night before they take it. You know, they like to stay up and play video games and talk on the phone, and I don't know about yours, but mine TikTok all the time. And so, but they need to go to sleep so that way they can be refreshed and ready to go the next day. And just, speak some words of encouragement. We know that they can do it. They know they'll be a little apprehensive the day of it, and I know you guys support them as well. The practice plan, it's recommended that they spend about 20, maybe 30 minutes practicing. They can do it 2-3 times a day, but as we said, they have access to it anywhere that they have computer access. And that's where we are. Oh, my Lord. We do have some resources that are also linked in this presentation. Ms. Middleton will drop the link again, just in case some people joined a little bit later. All of the links, they are clickable links, so you can go through and click them to get some other additional resources. And some of them are provided by the school district. Some of them are ones that we've found online that are either free. Some of them have a small fee that goes with them. So this one's from UNCC, with just different test prep ideas and different things that we can use to help. That concludes our portion. Does anybody have questions for us that we might be able to answer? We don't have all the answers, but.
Can I ask so I understood the Mastery Prep, what is the platform that the test itself is on? Is that on the digital? I assume it's digital, but is it the digital blue book? Or what platform is that specifically?
It's a secure testing platform that they'll get the day of.
Yep. So CMS will push that out from the state, and I think it is ACT because a student asked me about it and asked me how to load it on their personal computer, but we have it already loaded on our Chromebooks. I'm gonna look it up as we have more questions, so I can circle back to you on to tell you what it's called. But it is their own ACT platform that they'll access. Give me just a moment and I'll look that up.
Yes, thanks, because our class is asking that, so thanks.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. So my two children are on here now, so I don't know if they already have the answers to these, but I know you're testing on March 4th. Will there be other opportunities for them to take it at North after that?
Yes, thank you. After March 4th, that's the initial test date. We do have a makeup period that'll last for about 2 weeks after that. So they can still take that free administration after the initial test date. And Ms. Baker, our testing coordinator, will follow up with them to ensure that they get that opportunity.
Okay, and then I kind of joined late, so I apologize if I'm asking the same questions, but is this something that they have to sign up for on March 4th? Or is everyone taking it? Okay, okay.
All 11th graders at North that are present on the 4th will be taking it that day.
Okay. And so they also, I have a lot of questions.
This is the time. This is the time.
I know this is the ACT, but they'll also have these opportunities for SAT as well. Is that
So
correct?
for the SAT, students have to go sign up through the collegeboard.org website on their own. This test, the ACT, is specifically given to juniors through the state of North Carolina once. And if they want to test again, they will have to go to the ACT.org website to sign up for a future administration. So yes, they can take the exam. You just have to register for it on your own. But remember, I also talked about the school nutrition website or the free and reduced lunch application. If you have a current 25, 26 free reduced lunch application and you were accepted into the program, you can present that to student services to get a fee waiver to be able to register for the test and not have to pay for it.
Okay, thank you.
To the gentleman that was asking about the platform, I put it in the chat. It is called ACT Gateway, and there's a lot of information about it online.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions from the group? Or any
Just one
students
more.
that are on it, do you have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Is this a 2-hour test? How long does the test last, or the
It is
time
about
frame
2
that's
hours.
allotted?
Yeah, I think it's Ms. Hewing, was that on one of our first slides? I believe that it's a little over 2 hours.
Okay. All right.
Yes, just
I
a little
missed
over
that.
2 hours. So that's what you're saying. Kind of be prepared to be in one space. So you may be in a classroom that you're not used to. It may be cold in there or it may be hot. So dress in layers so that you can make sure you maintain your comfort while you're in that classroom space for at least 2 hours.
And there are
Okay.
breaks built in
Thank
there,
you.
so they don't have to just test like 2 hours straight. They do have breaks
Uh-huh.
that are built in.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, if you did not do the meeting attendance, please make sure that you click the link. It's also in the chat. Or put the initial one back up. If you would like to scan.
Yeah, I just looked it up, about 2 hours and 45 minutes for test time.
Students are also encouraged to make sure they charge their Chromebooks before, well, overnight, come to school with a charged device, and that will be helpful as well.
One of the questions is will the slides be available elsewhere? We will also put them with the video online on the school website.
I was just typing that in the chat too.
We're on it. We're on it.
All right, you all. So if you have any questions, we'll stay on for a bit. Please make sure that you record your attendance. If you want this again, we will post it on our website. But thank you so much for coming. We hope that this gave you just a little information to get you started on prepping for the ACT and some resources that can help you. So we're happy to provide any other information. You can reach out to us if you have further questions, but we thank you so much for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do have
You're
one last
welcome.
question about the College Connect. I'm not sure if you mentioned this. I was trying to write everything down. How will they have access to that? Or was it October?
So, what happened this past summer was the state of North Carolina sends out the College Connect letters to students, and this is based on your address in Infinite Campus. They sent out the letters to families and students with the information of schools that grant automatic admission, as well as the website of how to get onto the platform. But if your child also has a cfnc.org account, it's all connected together. I'm trying to Google it and give you the website also. But just be on the lookout for that mail. We didn't necessarily, we as in student services, counselors, people at the school, we really didn't know it was coming, or we probably would have given students and families a heads up. I found out about the program in like September. So, just keep an eye out in the mail over the summer. I just put the website in there and sorry, in the chat if you wanted to look at it. But yeah, just keep an eye out on your mail over the summer and make sure that the school has an updated address because that's what the state pulls the information from.
Great. Yeah, it sounds like a really great program. Thank you for that.
I will say mine came in a very brightly colored envelope, and when I looked at it, I thought it was junk. So make sure you look at it and see that it says CNSC. It says College Connect and all this stuff all over it, but when you first glance at it, it doesn't look like a official letter.
So they send this
But it
during
is.
the summer moving into their senior year? Is that how it works? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. We had another question.
I think I got the answer now. So it's for this North Carolina College Connect, it is given to all students just based
So
off
also,
of
yes.
the students becoming a senior, or they
So
And having a GPA of 2.8 or higher.
okay, so it's GPA and the fact that they've taken the ACT.
no, this is based on GPA alone.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, and like I said, the state will pull that information. They did it twice this year. They did it over summer, and then they did a second pull in September just to make sure they capture anybody who may have registered late. But just make sure, like you said, you're checking your mail. And if your child definitely has above a 2.8 weighted GPA, be looking for that to come over the summer.
Okay, thank you. And for the ACT, also SAT, I know we're talking about ACT tonight, but is it a limited number of times that the students can take those tests?
So there's not a limit on the amount of times you can take it, but it's not recommended that you just can take it and take it and take it and take it, because experts say about 4 times you're not going to really change a lot, especially if you're not doing a lot of studying in between. 2 to 3 is kind of where students see a little bit of differences as far as scores are concerned. But I mean, you can take it as many times as you want to, pay for the exam if you pay for the test. But um, I would say after the first one, if you see that it's not necessarily a score that you are happy with, or you don't think it meets or is above the average score of a school that you're interested in, a college or university that you're interested in, you could study some more and then take it again, to see if it changes. And then if you take it a third time, no matter what test, the ACT or the SAT, if you've taken a test twice and you still have a section that's just not doing as well, um, focus on that one section in the maybe third time that you take it, because that's why the super score comes in. If you say, I did great on the reading part my first time, but not so good on the math, and I wanted to study and do a little bit better on the math, well, say you kind of breeze through the reading part because you want to just save your mental stamina for the math part. You won't necessarily be penalized if you don't do as well on the reading the second or third time around, because you're focusing on that section that you want to get a higher score in. And so then with super scoring, that's how you'll end up matching your best score from each of your exams to give you the best score overall.
Middleton, I do have a question. So,
Okay, thank you,
correct.
Middleton.
I'm
You're
sorry.
welcome.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Middleton. Number one, you can super score. Number two, they used to be able to take just that part. Is that only for the SAT where they can only take certain tests, or does the ACT do it as well?
I had to Google that. I
Okay.
would say maybe. I can't. I'm not gonna
I
lie to
know
you.
from
I
my
don't know.
daughter, I remember my daughter being able to focus, and Michael was able to focus on just one part and just take the math. Like he was able to pay and sign up just for the math, but I don't know if it's ACT and SAT, or is it just the SAT that does that?
Yeah, I know the SAT you can. It says the ACT does not offer the ability to register for just one single section,
Got it.
in a standard test session.
Got it. Okay.
Our administration would be all 4 parts. They wouldn't be able to take separate ones in the ones that we're offering to.
But if they wanted to do it a second time or a third time, they would still have to sit for the entire exam.
Got it. Next question. So when you're taking the test, one of them counts the ones that you don't answer. What is that? Like if you don't answer it, it counts against you, but if you do answer and you guess, it don't count. Which one is that?
So with this one, they want you to answer every single question. You don't necessarily get penalized for answering the questions wrong. They kind of give you credit for everything you answer right. So
Right.
if you don't
Got it.
try to guess it, then you have a 0% chance of getting them right.
Got it. Thank you. So tell them to answer all the questions.
Answer all the
whether they
questions.
know
Do
it or
the
not.
process of elimination, get down to 50% and choose one of those.
Thank you.
And Miss Middleton, you said the test, or anybody can answer. You said the test is like 2 hours and 45 minutes. Will the students start like later in the day, or is it right after the bell at 7:15?
Yeah, the students will start. They will go to their testing locations right at the bell at 7:15. So they'll get started no later than 7:30. Once they get directions, get settled, get materials, get set up. So it'll be first thing that morning. And then after that, they'll stay in homeroom until, so we'll say maybe 3 hours, 3.5 hours, maybe up until third block time, and then they'll release, and then they'll go to third block as normal, and then, excuse me, fourth block as normal.
Okay, thank you.
There's no more
Are there
questions.
any other?
All
Um,
right.
Questions?
Oh,
Thank you so
did you have a
much.
question, Ms. Gary?
I don't. I just checked. We don't have any more questions. Thank
Oh.
you for the information.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. We will stay on a little bit, and if anybody else has any questions, we are happy to answer them.